I'm diving into the eerie world of the Chernobyl Meat Train Disaster to uncover the radioactive secrets behind it. Can I handle what I find? The Chernobyl disaster, one of the worst nuclear power plant accidents in history, left a trail of radioactive contamination that still haunts the region today. The aftermath of Chernobyl saw us scramble to contain the damage, but the full extent of the radioactive fallout was still unknown. Radioactive particles had spread far and wide, contaminating large areas of land. This created a huge problem for authorities. What to do with the livestock that had been grazing in these contaminated areas? The concern was that if this contaminated meat entered the food chain, it could pose serious health risks to the public. Transporting this contaminated meat was a logistical nightmare. Authorities had to figure out how to move the meat. It was a delicate operation, balancing the need to prevent economic loss with the imperative to protect public health. There were fears that if the meat was not handled properly, it could end up in markets and eventually on dinner tables, leading to a health crisis. The risks were very real. Radioactive contamination can lead to serious health problems, including cancer and genetic mutations. The thought of consuming radioactive meat was terrifying, and the public was rightly concerned. How could they trust that the food they were eating was safe? Details of the meat train incident are fascinating and terrifying. Eyewitnesses recall the sight of the train carrying highly radioactive cargo, a stark reminder of the disaster's reach. Consuming radioactive meat could lead to a spike in health problems, a legacy of the Chernobyl disaster that would last for generations. The public's reaction to the news was one of shock and outrage. The revelation that highly radioactive meat had been transported and potentially consumed was a turning point. It highlighted the need for stricter controls over food safety in the wake of a nuclear disaster. The most shocking revelation was perhaps the discovery of just how high the radiation levels were in the meat. There were reports of radiation levels so high that they were considered lethal. This raised serious questions about how such meat had been allowed to enter the food chain, and what other contaminated products might still be out there. The aftermath of the discovery saw a major overhaul of food safety regulations. There was a new focus on monitoring and testing for radioactive contamination in food products. It was a hard lesson learned, but one that would help prevent similar incidents in the future. The Chernobyl Meat Train Disaster was a dark chapter in the history of nuclear accidents. It highlighted the risks of radioactive contamination and the importance of strict food safety controls. If you're as fascinated by this story as I am, then hit the subscribe button